I know you're at work, but I have a task I need you to do.
Yes, master. What is the task?
I want a naked photo of you showing me your submission.
Yes, master. It's on its way.
Prepare for a fusion of knowledge and exhilaration where education and excitement collide.
Taking you on an adventure that expands your mind and speaks to your spirit.
I'm Master Nick.
I'm Lady D.
We are the Dom Life.
This podcast contains sexually explicit topics and adult content.
It is intended for listeners 18 and older.
As a reminder, the opinions expressed are ours alone based on our personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
We understand that others may have different opinions and experiences, and we respect that. We would love to hear from you. Reach out to us at thedomlife.com. That's my good girl. Fuck. Look at that picture. Exactly what I asked for. Look how well she shows her submission. Palms up in her lap. Head bowed. I think she'll get a reward tonight. I want you to know I can dominate without using any tools, without using any impact play, and without any hitting.
But I like those things.
I can do all of this by 1, assigning tasks, 2, use of collars, 3, physical domination,
Ooh.
and 4, mental domination.
Ouch, that can hurt.
A common misconception that the DS dynamics are pain-focused or violent.
It's not true.
That is not true. The title of dominant should not be something we bestow upon ourselves. It is earned through trust.
Trust, for sure.
Ask yourself, what is a dominant without a submissive?
Without someone who trusts you enough to give up control to you.
So let's talk a little bit about what makes a good dominant. In my mind, you have to be an active listener, a communicator, a caretaker, a protector,
Yes.
a leader, and an earner of trust. But what are the benefits of being a dom?
What? There are no benefits to
There
being a
is
dom.
benefits of being a dom.
Tell me about it, Master Nick.
So after earning trust,
Yes, let's repeat that. After earning trust.
you honestly get to decide and dictate what happens. You can control sex. You can initiate sex.
With us, that's a requirement. You initiate sex with me.
Yes. You can position your sub how you want during sex.
Ooh, sexy
So
time.
just think back of all those pornos you watched growing up. Think about all the nice, beautiful looking positions they were in. You can try it. I can tell you it's not all what it's cracked up to be. Some
But-
of them, I don't see how they get there, but it's fun to try. But most importantly, it's like being in charge. You get to kind of make the final say-so, the final decisions.
You do have the final say. I might argue sometimes, but in the end, when we get to it, because of this trust we've built, you have the final say.
Correct. But also for the DOMs, it's not always about making the last and final decision. Ultimately, you are there to please your sub, make sure they're happy, make sure they're not stressing out.
See
all
how
that
much
kind of
work?
stuff. It's a
See
lot
how
of
much
work.
work it is to be a dominant?
It is a lot of work.
All I have to think about is he happy? If not, how can I make him happy?
Right. I've said it before. I'll say it now, and I'll say it again later on, I'm sure. Being a dom is like having a second job. It entails a lot. But let's dive into some examples. Tasks. Give these subtasks that remind them of their submission throughout the days.
Yes.
And how do you do that? Here are some examples. One thing you can do is have them to take good morning selfies. If you are one that gets up and leaves the house before your sub does, maybe they're still in bed when you leave the house.
Oh, would that be so nice?
You don't get to do that though.
No.
But after you get to work, And after your sub gets up, have them take a morning selfie. And it could be a number of things. They could be naked.
It could be their collar.
It could be what collar they chose to wear, what outfit they're wearing if you didn't pick it out, or showing that they are wearing what you picked out. Have them to write notes to put in your lunchbox.
This is something that I started doing just because I loved you. Before we got into the real DS,
Yes.
I wrote letters.
You started that on day one.
Day one, notes in your lunchbox. And at some point, it kind of fell off for a little bit. And you came to me and you said, this is going to be a required task
Yes.
because of...
It makes you feel good. I mean, you. For me, I'm not a morning person. I hate getting out of bed. I hate getting up.
I know.
Have zero motivation. I drive to work. I'm at work. Nobody loves work. You can say what you want. Everybody says if you love what you do, it's never a day of work. Well,
it's still work.
I love what I do, but everybody has their bad days. But when I get to work and I put my lunch up in the fridge, that you have packed for me as well.
Yes.
You know, I set everything out. I pull my note out. I lay it in front of my keyboard. I read my note before turning on my computer.
Now,
that is what starts my workday.
Now, that note may not always make sense. My 5 a.m. writings sometimes are very good and sometimes are not. But he gets a letter or a note in his lunchbox. And if he doesn't get a note, then there's going to be repercussions.
Yes. You could have your sub exercise if they are trying to stay healthy or trying to get into shape. You can help them along by assigning them tasks to make sure that they stay with their workout routine, or set up a workout routine for them.
Help them
with it. And if you're trying to be active, it's a great way for you all to do it together while holding your sub to the task. Another good way or an example of a task is journaling. And in this journal, your submissive could write out any fantasies they have, or maybe it was just what they enjoyed about the day.
Or what they enjoyed about their last sexual experience with you.
They could spell out, you could have them to write anything. You could leave it up to them to just make a journal, make it like a diary. Some days they may have, what upset them or what made them sad, so that you can pay attention and try to help avoid that in the future.
Or adding things that you fear. Tell me about the things that make you uncomfortable. So it's a way for people who don't communicate well verbally.
Right.
Or there's a lot of submissives that don't want to communicate. They're not good at expressing themselves.
Right.
And this is an opportunity through journaling that you can then, it's kind of like my notes, but this is in a journal format.
Right. And if you're just starting off in the BDSM, sometimes it is hard to express your kinks or your fantasies or your fetishes.
Very uncomfortable.
It can be, especially if you're sitting in front of your dominant and trying to explain without getting embarrassed or worried about feeling judgment. So this is also an avenue you can take to write down what you want, what you desire, what are you craving, and be in a total different room as your dominant reads it, so it's not as embarrassing or,
one
vulnerable.
of the things that you had me do is use one of the kink websites.
Yes.
And they had everything under the sun listed, and you could select those things you were interested in.
Yep.
So we would adapt that, and you made me make some selections so that you can see what interests me.
And that website that she's speaking of, in case you're new and just getting into it, is FetLife, FET life.com. There is an app for Android phones. The app for iPhones don't exist or doesn't really work, but we use it on web-based. But if there's any kind of kink that you have, I almost guarantee it, there is some kind of group or some kind of members that are also interested in it as well. It is really mind-blowing to get on there and see what all there is. So check that out. That is an awesome way to show your likes, your interest in your kinks without having to confront one another with it. Another way for tasks is public displays of submission or public displays of dominance. So one example for this is you're going out to eat, you're going to a restaurant. To show display of dominance, the dominant can choose where the submissive sits. That way, the dominant has the seat that they want. For me, personally, I do not like to sit with my back towards the entrance or an exit. So I always strategize when we walk up to the table and I'm looking at where these doors are. I want to sit where I can see all of them. So by me picking out your seat, showing dominance of, I want you to sit here.
Well, and I feel similar. I feel the same way. It's just something that makes me more comfortable. And so we have always sat together in booths, and we face the same direction, which helps us in that situation.
So while you're there at the restaurant, to show your dominance, order for your submissive. Find out what they want if you don't already know. Lady D does not speak to the waiters or waitresses when we go out. I will find out what she wants. When the waitress comes up, I make the order, and it's always funny because they always look at you like, I just ordered all that food for me.
All this food for the kid, for him, for everything.
Yeah. So they always look at Lady D, and I, I'll look up. I'm like, that's it. That's all we're getting. And it's always a fun, sometimes a real funny look that they give. Like, what's going on here? Has he kidnapped her and holding her hostage? But that's how we do it. We've done it since day one, pretty much.
You open the door always.
I always open the door, even on our vehicle. So
yes,
if we're getting ready to go somewhere, I will pull the truck out of the garage, and then I'll get out of the truck and come around and open the door so that you can get in.
Same thing when we arrive. Yep. You exit the vehicle and come around and open my door and help me out of the vehicle.
Yes. And then there's times, we're kind of in a hurry to get somewhere. You will reach for the handle and I'll snap at you. Don't touch that handle.
That is your job as a dominant.
That is absolutely.
And what that does is it also reminds me that I'm his submissive.
So similar to role playing, submissives might like to be dominated in the bedroom, but might have issues if you were to act the same way with them in public.
Oh, yeah. If you start, bossing me around while we're sitting outside in public where everybody can hear, right, it may be a little bit embarrassing for me. Yep. I may not react the best.
Or we could be at a family gathering where not everybody knows what lifestyle we're in. So to kind of keep the calm of around people, we have hand signals.
Yes.
And that is something that is easily incorporated into a DS lifestyle.
And there's a way to do it where it's not right in everybody's face.
Correct.
You can keep your hand along your side of your leg, yes, and you can do the symbol, or not the symbol, the signal that makes me be quiet.
Yep. Either, only speak when spoken to, or
leave the room.
Leave the room. So you can come up with your own hand signal, something that you all can create together and understand. I did some research and happened to stumble across a picture while I was researching all dominant submissive. So we use, I guess it's kind of like an international hand signal thing that somebody already put out there. So that's the one we have adopted, and that's the one that we use. So another example is the number 2, collars. Collaring your submissive is a huge thing in the dominant submissive lifestyle.
BDSM lifestyle. It is huge.
And some people have rituals with it. Some people prefer to do it in an open setting. To some people, it's like getting on a knee and proposing.
Yes. In fact, in our wedding, while you didn't collar me, you bought me a custom special collar that says beloved, that was in white, that I wore on our wedding day.
Yes, you did. With the collars, you do have day collars and you have play collars. Now for us, we have one collar in particular that I always put on you when it's time to play.
So no matter what collar I'm wearing, because whenever we leave the house, a collar goes on my neck.
Yes.
Whether it is, there's a lot of different collars that we have. we've had some very expensive custom ones, and we have some that we bought off of Amazon or Etsy.
Yes.
So but I like a selection. I don't want to wear the same collar every single day because I match it with my outfits, which also helps it blend in a little bit because at my position at work, it just makes it a little bit easier if it's not in your face, although I do have the lock on my collars.
And you can make it very discreet. If you're a professional submissive in the lifestyle and you have a professional job, there is chokers. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of women wearing chokers. I'm sure there's a lot of men that wear chokers. It's something that I haven't paid attention to or haven't noticed, but
strangely,
you usually see more women.
If you go
wearing
back to my high school prom and pictures,
I forgot about that.
I was wearing collars even back then, not from somebody, but just myself. Right. I have always been into
you've liked that feeling of something being around your neck.
And now I get to do it, and it means, and it shows. So it's a visual reminder of your control over me, and I love having that.
Right. Now, what is something you can do if you come in from work, you've had a full day of work, maybe it was a shit day, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're anxious. What is something you can do to show me
I don't do it enough. I don't do it
enough.
But I should do it, because one of the things that I can do is I can get my collar, my play collar.
Yes.
The one that we have designated whenever we're going to do a BDSM scene. I can grab that collar and my cuffs and bring it to you. And basically it's a signal
to me that you want to be giving up your control.
Yes.
You're done for the day. Anything that happens the rest of the night is my responsibility.
Yes.
That you want to clear your mind. You want me to either physically or mentally dominate you.
Yes.
So that you can take your mind off the world.
And this is one of those things that thank you everybody for this, listening to our podcast, because this is one of those things that being able to do this, it's a reminder. It's a reminder that I need to do that when I'm having that kind of day, in order to let you know without snapping at you or doing something stupid like that.
Right.
That earns me punishments versus rewards.
So moving on to physical domination, not only in bed can you do the physical domination, you can do physical domination anywhere. For instance, going back to your coming in, you've had a shit day, you're stressed, you're in a bad mood. It took me a little while to understand your mood swings and your...
Wait. Mood swings?
You have them. Everybody has them.
I thought I fit on the scale of crazy and whatever. I see that change.
Yeah. You do have some mood swings.
I do.
But so for physical domination, by positioning yourself in a dominant position, coming up behind your submissive, wrapping your arms around their waist, around their chest, maybe one up around their neck, and just giving a slight, gentle tug, a tight squeeze, a kiss on the neck. I can usually feel you just kind of melt
into you. When my gosh, that is the best. And that is domination, because I then can let go of that.
Yes. And that usually brings you down. Your stress levels go down. You're not as anxious, and your mood starts to change a little bit, and it does start to get better. So that's one thing you can do. And again, everybody is different. Maybe your submissive just doesn't react the same way, but there is some reaction that you will get from them.
Right.
By
pulling their hair,
a slight gentle tug, nothing
tugs,
rough. Yep.
Right. There's ways to physical.
You technically don't even have to pull. You can just take your hand, run up on the back of their head, and just grab some hair, and it's not really pulling, but you still get that sensation of I've got you.
Right. When you give me a kiss, sometimes you'll You'll confine me
Push you up against a counter,
against
or
the
against
counter.
refrigerator or something.
Right.
Yep.
And then give me a kiss, like welcome home kiss that just kind of takes that control.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
More physical domination, restraining during sex.
Ooh, let's go, baby.
So one of the things that I like to do, and if you find your submissive is squirming a lot or trying to get away.
Well, depending on what you're using on me, as in the golden tongue, I'm going to be pulling away.
Yes, and those are fun. And those are where you take your hands and you just grab hold of their hips and their thighs and you squeeze a little bit and you pull down towards the mattress or the wall or whatever they're against and keep them from moving. I have set up and put my legs, put your arms down by your side and took my legs and squeezed everything. You couldn't move your arms, you couldn't move your legs,
and then
the weight of me setting on you kept you pushed down against the surface.
And then you were kissing up on me, and it's so hot, biting at my neck a little bit. So I would say all that is definitely under physical domination.
Yes, one of my favorites of physical domination, forced orgasms.
Oh, it's terrible.
And I love forcing an orgasm on you.
And forcing it repeatedly, not like multiple,
and not stopping. You could be sitting there saying, no, I can't have no more. I don't need no more. It's too much. And I'm still, forcing
unless
them on
I
you.
say yellow, and possibly in that situation, red, because who's going to stop at yellow? You're going to be like, let's see if I can get her to red.
Yep. And if you want to get deeper into physical dominations, you do have chastity belts or cages for the genital areas. That is a form of physical domination, knowing that you are constricted in your private areas, you're confined,
Yes,
not a lot of movement in them. So that is a good physical domination. You can use vibrators when you're out. They have the remote controlled vibrators.
Oh yeah, and just between me and you and all of you out there, those vibrators make some noise. So that can also be one of those things that public displays that thing is vibrating and you're afraid. It's loud to you. It may not be as loud to other people, but you're looking around to see if anybody knows.
You've also got Benoit balls, butt plugs.
Oh yes.
I mean, there's all kinds of different toys that you can use for physical domination.
When out.
Yes.
Or at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had you wear them at home before. Moving on to mental domination, setting rules and expectations. One thing that we do is Lady D must ask permission before making any plans. Now, even if it's plans for a girl's day out or a girl's night out, or if she's looking for something for us to do, she still has to give me a heads up of, hey, is it okay if we do this, or is it okay if I do this with the girls?
Strangely enough, we were setting up plans with some of my friends that involved girls' night and girls' day that rolls into a girls' and guys' night.
Yes.
Well, as I'm doing this, we had all the plans. We were like, okay, we're getting together. We're going to do all this stuff. And I said, wait. I better send a message to Master Nick and ask him permission. I'm sure it'll be okay, but I better ask. So I asked, he gave me permission, at which point, like, all of my other friends piped up, I got permission too. So we all do it.
It's good having friends when you're making plans like this, because sometimes one can remind you of your own rules and your own responsibilities.
So that you don't get punished.
Yes. Another form of mental, when in bed, the submissive must be naked.
And we followed this quite a lot in the beginning, but, situations adjust.
Yes.
And this one is a lot harder for us to accomplish because of kiddos.
Yeah. One of my favorites of mental domination, no panties when wearing a dress or a skirt.
Oh, and strangely enough, let's get into the fact that it is now a rule for everybody that we hang out with when we go to Club Tempted, the first thing he does is he wanders around and either the girls will go, see, I followed the rules today, or they don't follow the rules so that they can get in trouble because they know he's going to look.
I'm going to check. If you're in our group, if you're in our group, whether we're at Club Tempted, whether we have a house party, or even if we just go to, let's say, a vanilla bar, if the submissives walk in a dress or a skirt, I'm either going to ask, are you following the rules, or I'm going to check.
Yes.
And
that's the kind of good friends we have. He gets to check.
Yes. So the dominant can pick out or change the submissive attire for any occasion. And that's always fun. You know, depending on where you're going, do you want your submissive to be a little more revealing, or do you want them to be a little more conservative?
One of the things that'll come up later in our world is contract negotiation. But one of the things that he said, and he worded it so great, he said, your body is mine. And when I want you dressed in a certain way, we're going to do that. And I want you to understand that you should not be embarrassed, or you should not be, it pleases me to see you this way, so it should please you.
Right. I'm surprised you remembered that so
well. Gosh, because it's one of those things
you must have that framed and sitting on your desk.
No, not at my desk. Nope. No, sir.
Another one of my favorites of mental domination, Lady D must ask permission to orgasm.
Just like I said, he owns my body and he owns my orgasms. But what actually does that mean?
That means whether we are having sex or for you to masturbate. If I'm gone.
Oh, it's so hard.
And you want to masturbate.
So you control.
I control them. So I may be out of town. I may be at work while you're on a day off.
When we're at the club and I have my earphones in and we're playing on the cross and you decide to give me an orgasm, before I can actually have an orgasm, I have to ask him, Master, can I please orgasm? So even if I'm right on that edge, I have to ask. And if he says no, I have to pull it back. Yes. Because if I do not, then there will be punishments.
And we're going to get to those here in a minute. So one last idea for mental domination. The submissive must message when leaving the house or running errands. And it's important to know that your submissive isn't where you think they are.
Right.
So, you know, that was...
It's good for safety too, but as a dominant and submissive, I always let you know I'm leaving, I'm going over to Walmart or Walgreens, and then I'm heading back to the office.
Yes.
Thankfully, you also return that favor and let me know when you're leaving work or when you're going somewhere.
I do. So in order to ensure your submissive follows the rules and expectations, you should use positive reinforcement with rewards to get the submissive to follow the rules and the expectations. Some of the positive reinforcements or rewards, treat them with their favorite meal.
Aww.
Whether it's something you cook at home or their favorite restaurant.
It's just the best thing in the world when you come home and you have food. I don't have to think about it.
You don't have to think about it. You've already given up control at that point.
Yes.
Or have taken the control at that point.
That's awesome.
Because you don't have to make any decisions. Buy them chocolate.
Chocolate. People like chocolate, and if they don't, then maybe another treat that they really like.
It may be dark chocolate, white chocolate, milk
maybe
chocolate.
Cool Whip all over their body.
Hey,
I mean,
I'm down for that.
It's a reward.
You can run a warm bath and wash them. That is some good intimate physical rewards.
And there'll probably be a happy ending for my dominant, Master Nick, as well.
Because it is a reward. Using punishments and punishments for not following the rules. And what we mean by punishments is...
Fun punishments.
It's a fun punishment.
It just means that you're getting punished for something you did, but maybe you didn't do it intentionally. It wasn't like you were... it's usually a slight infraction versus absolute didn't do something I was supposed to.
Correct.
And then... punishments would be...
Orgasm denial.
Oh, that's terrible. Nobody likes that.
I do.
But that's because you never have orgasm denial. So, of course, you like it.
No, there's not going to be none of that.
That's why another good reason to be the dominant, because you will never have orgasm denial.
Exactly. And by orgasm denial, you can make them hold it. You can make them wait.
When I ask, he says no.
Yep. If I was to say no, you have to hold it in. Otherwise, then it turns into a full-blown punishment. But as a punishment orgasm denial, you can edge them. So another fun thing to do is get them right on the edge where they're fixing to explode, and then just stop everything that you're doing.
Back it back down.
Back it back down a little bit. Play just a little bit. Kiss around the body.
I don't like that.
Yep, that is a lot of fun.
But it's fun because in the end, he allows me to orgasm, which at that point, it's so big and huge.
Yes. Also, you can push them to their limits and make them beg you to stop.
As in give them orgasm after orgasm to the point where now
where they are squirming, where they're saying, no more, I can't do no more. Hold them down, pin them down, keep them from moving, and keep giving them the orgasms.
How about another one? Making them not say a word and not squirm while having an orgasm.
Take a shot glass, fill it with water,
Oh, no.
place it on their belly,
Oh, no.
but they're not allowed to spill a drop.
Quarters is another one. Quarters on the legs, if their legs are open and spread.
Yes.
So these, while they're punishments, they're also good ways to show that you're the dominant. So if you wanted to do that just for fun with your submissive,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You could have your submissive to bathe you as a punishment. That way you get to stand there. The dominant gets to stand there, gets a nice shower or a bath, and gets washed off.
Soapy.
Yep. And there's usually a lot more that entails in that little scenario other than just getting washed off. Usually there's a lot of happy endings after that too.
Oh, no.
Now we're going to move into the punishment side of it.
I think that all punishment should be banned.
I disagree.
Why can't we just stick with the punishments? Why?
Because sometimes a submissive may feel a little bratty and they are craving some punishments.
Yes. And it again, we went through sub drops and that. So sometimes a submissive is looking for punishment.
Yes. So punishments without pain would include, you could have your submissive to kneel naked in the floor while the dominant remained dressed. Because a person when naked in the presence of another dressed person will feel more vulnerable.
Yes. It is one of those things that makes you feel when somebody's fully dressed and you are naked, you feel maybe smaller. Yeah.
It's a punishment without pain. You could have your submissive to write sentences explaining why they are being punished, whether they forgot their note or whether they went to bed.
We hated it as kids. It's just as bad as an adult.
Yes. So your submissive could write out, I will not forget this particular task, or I'm sorry I acted this way in public, or, it could be anything, any kind of infraction. It could be writing out sentences.
One of the things that we're talking without pain, right? But there's also those punishments that are like a repercussion. Like you could have clamps or like rings, but if you have to sit up or tiptoe or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And that if you drop, then it's going to pull on your
Correct.
Nipple rings.
So
pull.
An example of that, we have a D ring in our bedroom ceiling that I could suspend some chains from. So what I could do is have you stand on your tiptoes and take clothespins that are attached to these chains and have them really tight. And if you was to come off your tiptoes, it's going to pull them off.
Right. So I just kind of went into a tangent because I was thinking in my head, there's their repercussion.
Yes.
But okay, sorry.
Yeah. We're trying to stay off of the pain on this one.
I know, but I like a little pain. Okay, keep going.
A little pain is good. Ball gags and sensory deprivation. So let's say your submissive is acting out, being mouthy, being bratty.
We have some friends that need to hear this.
Yes. You can take the ball gag, they can still make sound, but they're not going to be able to talk. You can blindfold them. You can put noise canceling headphones on them
and give them a squeezy ball so that
they know that would be their safe word. You can use, handkerchiefs, something laying around that they can hold that, if they was to drop.
And a lot of
that
times
would be the safe word.
This kind of thing can be done in public if you go to the clubs and stuff like that.
Yes.
Because I'm a talker. Put me in a corner with all this, knowing that everybody else is having a good time. It's a pretty big punishment.
That would be a huge punishment for you. So a story time.
What?
Yes. We're going to talk about a punishment that I had you to do.
Oh,
we had some friends
I don't
over.
ever get punished.
We had some friends over. We was all sitting at our bar. I overheard you talking to somebody about a masturbation scene that you had done that I was not aware of.
He calls it a scene. Like I was talking about the fact that over the course of 2 years that there was definitely a time that I masturbated without calling and asking for permission.
So
and he heard me talking about it.
I overheard that. And I think I even waited a few days.
Oh yeah, it wasn't right after they left.
I wanted to catch you, off guard with that. So we came to bed. And I turned to her and I said, what was this I overheard the other night about you masturbating and not asking permission? And you tried everything you could to get out of it. Oh, well, I don't remember if I did.
And the truth is, I don't recall when I did it or what I did. It was over the course at some point in the 2 years. I for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
So your punishment that night.
Oh.
While I'm laying in bed, covered up, nice and comfortable, I made you strip naked, and I made you to start masturbating.
Forced masturbation.
Yes.
Not fun for me.
But it was fun for me. I enjoyed it. It was a great show.
So Master Nick makes being a dominant sound so wonderful. All these benefits. But don't forget, I still have the control. You have questions, I have answers in the next episode of the Dom Life Podcast. Dominant, submissive lifestyle. Intro to submission. Please follow, like, and share our podcast.
Make sure to visit thedomlife.com, where you can find pictures and other details about the Dom Life podcast. And through the Contact Us button, you can ask questions or provide recommendations for future episodes.
We want to explore your kink too.
Be sure to check out upcoming events to see where our adventures are taking us and our photo gallery to where we've been.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you had fun listening and learning with us.
Till next time, keep calm and remember your safe word.
Red, red, red.